Welcome back, everyone, to the show of Requirement to Harry Potter podcast, streaming everywhere you get podcasts and also on YouTube. I'm your host, David Gonzalez, and I'm joined by my familiar co-host, Spencer Price, Abby Tooley, but also a new addition to the team. He has been a guest with us multiple times. He is all expert on Legos and everything that he loves. And so joining the team now on a permanent basis is the man himself, the Hufflepuff himself, Mr. Cole Harris. Welcome to the show,
Woo!
Cole.
Yay!
Ringo, he's here.
Ringo.
Ringo's here on a more permanent basis.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, at least I'm still alive.
That's fair.
That was dark.
Got David, because David's Lennon, and I'm Paul. Have
Sorry,
you guys heard
Abby.
the theory that Paul McCartney is dead?
It's fine.
Oh, yes. That's a fun one.
I have heard that theory.
Anyway,
I'm not. But anyway, full team is here. This is going to be the team moving forward. And we are here doing the third annual Yearly Prophet. This is Yearly Prophet number 3. So we've got all things to talk about the world of Harry Potter.
number 4.
Not number 4. Number
Number
3. And we have a lot to talk about. But obviously, there isn't going to be a lot of news because of the current strike going on right now. So we really can't talk too much about actual news when it comes to Max's Harry Potter series because development is stalled. Like everything is stalled.
Which might not happen, honestly.
Do you think the
I
show
wanted to
won't
bring
happen?
it up.
Okay,
I
go
think it's
for it.
like-
Go for it.
I'm probably 50-50 at this point. Not because I don't want it to happen at this point. I'm over that factor. It's more that I don't know if Warner Brothers, which is currently the most chaotic of like the big 3 or 4 studios, they're like $49 billion in debt.
Yeah.
B, streaming shows are starting to struggle because the streaming format is not making as much money as all of these companies hoped because now there's like Infinity and there's not as many people on HBO Max. So I'm just thinking they might cut it.
I am
And
a
with the
proud
strikes and
supporter of Max. It is one of my favorites.
I like using Max, but I just am still, I'm like 50-50. I still think also there's time for them to change their mind and rebrand it into a Marauders series or something else that's new. But that would rely heavily on Seamus not be named.
Right. Absolutely agree. Well, let's go ahead and let's camp there for just a quick second. Abby, Cole, what are your thoughts on the show possibly not happening and what Spencer said about, what they could do instead during the strike?
I mean, I've always been of the opinion that like a Marauder series would be, I don't know, probably more well received, but then also just more wanted than another Harry Potter series. But I don't know. I hadn't
That's
given a
wishful
whole lot of.
thinking.
Yeah, it is.
That's wishful thinking.
I don't know that it'll happen.
I'm more of a believer in this series might not happen.
I was going to say, I think overall, I don't know a whole lot about what's going on with all the strikes. I know that Warner Brothers is really chaotic right now. So Spencer makes a good point. I mean, it may not get made at all. If anything, if it doesn't get made, I doubt they'd make another series like a Marauders. It'd be nice, but yeah.
I'm not really wanting this reboot. I feel like it's too early. We're not even 20 years out from the final movie. But I wouldn't mind a Marauders show. And then I saw on Instagram just some fan art and some pitches of other possible shows that we could get, including a Voldemort Origins show. It'd be interesting to say the least.
Very dark.
And then there's very dark.
I would argue that you could if you did a proper adaptation of, and this is somehow I'm arguing for the reboot, but if they did Half-Blood Prince completely loyal, that kind of isn't Voldemort origin
Necessary.
series.
Right.
It would deem it unnecessary.
Mhm.
What cringe? And then I saw they also had one for it's called like the Black Sisters Chronicles, and it's about Narcissa and Bellatrix.
And Andromeda.
Yes.
Yeah. I am always going to defend a kind of like against a reboot. Like I don't think it's necessary. I think Cole hit it right on the head. We're not even 20 years out from the release of the final film. And I think that doing series and doing shows, doing a Marauder show, I think kind of, it still fits into it. My whole thing is that I'm with the idea of doing a reboot. It kind of makes, in my opinion, it makes everything that you've done before meaningless. Not to discount experiences and what people think about them and people still enjoy, but basically it's a slap in the face to everybody who's enjoyed the films of Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint, Tom Felton, Alan Rickman, and so on and so forth. So many people involved. Scores as well. And as someone who's even a big fan of Fantastic Beasts, even though I said that there's a way that you can still fit those films within the new reboot and everything along those lines, just the idea of being able to have all the films still be canon and just build off of those instead, to me, I would enjoy that. Now, the possibility of them actually canceling this reboot, I see it still moving forward just because of, and I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and say this, which I guess I probably should have talked to you guys about it before I hit record. But let's not be petty anymore. It depends on J.K. Rowling and what she decides to do moving forward. Because this is her baby. This is her project. Whether we want it to be or not, for the various different reasons we don't want it to or not, it's her project. It's what she wants to do. And I think that because she has control, she has kind of a deciding factor. Now, Max can go ahead and tell her, hey, we're not going to do it anymore. And she's going to be like, okay, whatever. But
I'm going to have to read into this more. I have doubts in her actual involvement in all this.
Okay.
Because I think Warner Brothers has the rights still to make the Harry Potter series. Again, similar to Marvel rights, Cole, where they made the 1994 Fantastic Four movie and didn't release it because it was terrible because they just needed to retain the rights. And so we're not at that point yet. Right. But that's the only thing that technically they can still make. And David Zaslav's a crazy person, but he's also the CEO of Warner Brothers and just wants to make money and cut costs as desperately as possible. And so I'm kind of like, I don't know if she actually wants that or if she's just refusing to let them make anything else but Harry Potter or Fantastic Beasts. And obviously they're cutting back on Fantastic Beasts. David Zaslav commented on that. So anyway, I'd have to read more into it. If she's involved, cool. If she's not, hopefully it's still good. The one thing though is, Cole, when was the Percy Jackson series announced? 2019?
Yeah.
It was a hot minute ago. I think 2019
It's
at
been
the
a while.
earliest.
Were we still in college when it came out? When that news came out?
I don't know.
I was.
It might have been 2020. It might have been 2020.
It was 2020.
2 years to put together one season. That means Harry Potter were probably 2 years plus strikes because it's been almost 6 months since they announced that. I'm just saying, we're probably not even going to hear a whisper of this until 2026, 2025.
Yeah.
When they're almost done with the first season. We'll hear some casting stuff probably, but it's just going to be a while before we hear anything. And that's just because the strikes has halted all development. They don't have a showrunner. Like, there's nothing here. There's just the book series, J.K. Rowling, and a cool graphic. So
Yeah.
I hope it works out. I hope it's good, but
I also think we're all okay if it doesn't either. Like we're
Yeah.
okay if this reboot doesn't get off the ground and they just
that's what I'm saying.
yeah. No, that's understandable. And I think we're all in agreement on that. But Spencer, you brought us something else as we kind of
Okay.
we're in this segment. So you go ahead and you take it away.
Okay, so strikes wise, still ongoing. Nothing else really to note. I think the studios came up with a proposal to try to end the strike that the other side called laughable, and that was like last week.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to they'll figure that out. Read about it on your own. I don't know where you're at on unions and strikes. Bonnie Wright was on the podcast Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Michael Rosenbaum, you might know as
Lex
Luthor
Luthor.
in Smallville.
Smallville.
And just a general fun guy. It's a cool podcast. They go really deep. He likes talking about everybody's mental health issues and stuff. So I don't listen to every episode necessarily, but I see cool people and then I go and listen to it. And Bonnie Wright was on there a few months ago, I think, and they are releasing it now. But she talked about a lot of stuff, and it was really interesting. Apparently, Matthew Lewis has also been on. He's good friends with Michael Rosenbaum. But Bonnie talked about how she got the role, and her story in that, and that was interesting because she's not an actress. She wasn't an actress before then, just went to tryouts and made it happen. She also talked about how because Ginny wasn't as central of the movies, that she was able to have a mostly normal life. But she also talked openly about how they kind of had to cut everybody's scenes for the movies. And so that actually made me feel more optimistic about the reboot, is because she just recognized how she just didn't get screen time in the points. And she would read all the books to kind of get ideas. And then she would show up on set and it'd be just everybody's getting the cutting room floor. And she understood that. She wasn't mad at anybody for that. But I thought it was cool how because I feel like a lot of fans point their fingers at her and say she's a bad actress. But she was like, I've come to accept that it's not because of my abilities. Most of the people, the really nice fans, were just we just wanted more of you. And we didn't get that. With all love to Bonnie Wright, I think it's a little both. But mostly the writing piece and how they just didn't have time to set her up well. And anyway, she talked a lot about other actors and her experiences with that. And those were very enjoyable time. And I'm going to have to go back and find the Matthew Lewis episode when I can. She does a really great Dame Maggie Smith McGonagall.
Yeah, I think, yeah. In my mind, whenever you said that in the interview, she said, she wasn't an actress, so this was kind of her first exposure and experience in acting,
at least on a film set. Yeah.
Right. My thought process was just I could see that. But at the same time, you get better at acting the more that you do it. And there just wasn't a lot for her to do in these
didn't
films.
Give her many opportunities.
And I would go as far as to say that to some extent, especially in the earlier films, she was more of an extra than an actual supporting character.
Yeah, she said she had no lines or anything in the first film. She had one line that was written on the day.
Have you seen my I think it's Mom, have you seen my jumper? I think that was in or in Sorcerer's Stone, it was good luck. That's all she said. What she said was good
the other
luck.
thing I'll note is that when you think about Harry Potter actors and actresses and what they did after, in a lot of ways she's kind of the most successful, because she didn't continue. She used Harry Potter to pay for film school. And then she used her connections with Harry Potter. Her graduate film that she made starred David Thewlis. I gotta find that. That's gotta be good. And
Yeah.
then she wrote a book, and now she's making documentaries. Like, she's a film director now. So I'm like, in a lot of ways, she's been very successful.
Yeah.
She also just had a baby, which is nice.
Yeah. So good for her. I'm glad that she's doing well. I'm also glad to hear that she understands, or at least she's felt that not everyone is blaming her for how we feel about Jenny in the films, because it very much is so that we just wanted her to have more scenes and for her to have more freedoms to be Jenny from the books. Because again, as we're kind of rereading it, especially once we get to Half Blood Prince, we're going to see a lot of that character just come out and be fleshed out. And
In
so if
Order
the-
of the Phoenix too, but
right.
yeah.
But if the reboot is to happen, like, I'm hoping that that's one of the things that we get from it
Absolutely.
is just that. So, yeah. Any other thoughts before we move on?
Keep her trekking. Just
All
wanted
right,
to note
so-
it for fans.
Yep. So here's our next segment. I think this is a fun topic. This is one that we said that Spencer was texting the group today and just kind of expressed a couple of thoughts. But then I said, you know what? This would be an interesting possible debate. I'm not sure how much of a debate this actually will be. I guess we'll see here in a second. But we are going to talk about who read it better, Jim Dale or Stephen Fry. And so, Spencer, can you kind of just set up this conversation?
Well, I wasn't planning for this to be a conversation on the podcast, but this is fine. We've talked about Jim Dale before.
Right.
I remember the first time me listening to audiobooks, it was Stephen Fry. And I didn't understand. I was like, maybe Stephen Fry was so famous, he only did the first 3, and then Jim Dale did the rest of them. But then later I realized, I'm like, wait, there's versions of the first 3 with Jim Dale. I'm confused. And then today I was looking it up and I realized that I found out that Stephen Fry read the UK editions and Jim Dale later, not much later probably, but he read the American editions. But they both are British. Anyway, so I was just listening to like a YouTube thing to like listen to comparisons or whatever, just for the video didn't really matter, but I started looking at the comments and I kid you not, it was like, I love Stephen Fry. He's the blah, 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 blah. I love Jim Dale. And it was like, they weren't arguing with each other. Just every single comment was one or the other, like absolutely down the middle, 50-50. And so I was just like, wow, that's wild. And I read a cool article, which I sent to you, David, where another podcast, I think, was talking about the differences and which one actually read it better.
Yeah, so I have only ever heard the Jim Dale versions of it. And I tried looking up on Audible of which one you can get. And like, for me, it's hard to get the Stephen Fry edition of
it. The Audible used to have Stephen Fry only.
Yeah.
But that was a while ago.
And now it's like Jim Dale. And then especially because I use like Hoopla as my like kind of library service, the audiobooks are just Jim Dale. And so even when I was like looking about, okay, which way do I lean? The video that you sent had the kind of the excerpts of them kind of reading the same chapters in the same like specific pages of the book. And I was just going back and forth between of them. And so I'm just going to talk about why I prefer Jim Dale over Stephen Fry. And there was moments to where I was just like, oh, I don't know. Stephen Fry does a really good job. I think one of the things that we've talked about in the past before has been their Hagrids and how they've sounded doing their Hagrids. And here, where I stand in terms of them is that there are moments to where Stephen Fry is like dead on, like 100% Hagrid. And it's like chilling about how similar he is. But then there are also other moments where he doesn't sound like Hagrid. And Jim Dale is more consistent, I think, across the board in his Hagrid than Stephen Fry is, even though there are moments to where it's like perfect.
Cole, do you and Abby have anything you'd like to weigh in? I don't know if you've heard both.
No.
I say I haven't heard both, so I probably don't have a fair opinion. But I feel more biased towards Jim Dale because we talk about him so much.
Well, if we're gonna talk about biases, mine would, even though I haven't heard it, mine would actually be for Stephen Fry because he's a bigger name. Like I've known
he is a bigger name. Yeah.
I've known who Stephen Fry is for many, 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 many years. I never heard of Jim Dale before the podcast.
That's true. David and I converted him to out of the YouTube audiobook.
Oh my gosh, yes, we saved him.
Yes,
We
you did
saved
save me
him.
from that. Woo.
I think so. Stephen Fry is kind of to Harry Potter as Andy Serkis was to Lord of the Rings audiobooks.
Yes.
Mm.
But I would also argue for Jim Dale, and I'm going to reference the article's argument because Stephen Fry is much more of a narrator. He does great narrations. It's much more sensible, more dramatic, even. And he brings it to life in a much more realistic way. Whereas Jim Dale, you know, when you open up the audiobook, there's that little do 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 do
I
do
hate
do. It's
that.
like the harpsichord.
It's the worst
We all hate
one,
it.
yeah.
We all hate
It's
it. It's super
awful.
like
It's so campy.
but then Jim Dale comes in and meets it. He meets the kind of whimsical whatever of it. He's what they said is that Jim Dale is a character voice artist.
Which I
So
will
Jim
absolutely
Dale
agree with.
has voices for every single character,
Every single one.
and then he will nail them, and then he's very consistent. Like the voices are all the same. So Stephen Fry is better at, say, Hagrid, maybe Dumbledore as another example, but like Jim Dale is great at other characters, and he's consistent with every single one. As we'll mention later. Well, not in this episode, but Jim Dale's creature is like amazing. Well, like I love his serious voice. I love his. He has a good Hermione voice. Stephen Fry really can't voice women like at all. Like if you're gonna pick one of them, it's Jim Dale. If you're gonna pick one of them, it's Jim Dale.
So
and
his McGonagall voice is on point.
are you
you
talking?
see what I'm saying? He does
talking
have,
about like Jim
Dale
Dale's?
does have.
Yes,
Yeah.
Jim
Yeah.
Dale's McGonagall is on point.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I just love all of his voices.
Yeah, I would say to where I think he kind of misses is I think we've talked about it before. It's like his Hermione voice.
Yes.
But it's Stephen Fry's Hermione voice is not.
It's not there either.
You need to look
right?
it up. It's
yeah.
even less there.
Oh yeah, but what I did hear, or what that article did say, was that Stephen Fry's Voldemort is bone chilling
That's true.
of a voice. But I tried to look it up and I could not find it on YouTube.
Jim Dale's Voldemort voice is a little bit. It's good, but I wouldn't categorize it as great.
Yeah, is it better than mine?
Yours is more like Ray Fiennes.
Your Umbridge is my favorite.
It's true.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I haven't gotten to Jim Dale. I don't remember what Jim Dale's Umbridge sounds like. I'm not ready for that.
If Harry Potter ever did, and if they ever I guess if Warner Brothers, whoever's in charge, if they ever authorize like a full cast read through of all the Harry Potter books into audio, like kind of like how Star Wars has for like specific audio dramas, like I would audition for Umbridge. Like 100% would. No
You
other
heard it
character,
here, listeners.
no other character, just Umbridge. Like I think
There
I
you
can
go.
do a pretty good job on
Yep.
it.
So this I just read Dune, and they made a new version when the new movie came out that had 8 different voice actors and the narrator. And I thought, man, this is awesome. Like 3 chapters in, the voice actors just left. But then they came back inconsistently.
What?
Yes. It was like, I don't know if it was Hoopla, David. I don't know if it was like, if Audible's better. I was like, this is so backbreaking.
Weird.
I've learned how much my brain can stretch because I went from narrator doing every single voice to voice actors jumping in for lines. But it all had music. It was very good.
Yeah.
I think they took a page out of the Star Wars book, but then they didn't commit all the way.
Yeah. As someone who is a proud user, and we're not sponsored by them, but hopefully after this episode we will be. But like, I use Audible every single day, and I use it because whenever it does stuff like that, it has the license to those things, like, and it uses the full. I feel like with Hoopla, it's like you get kind of like, sometimes you'll get like a bootleg version of an audiobook, possibly. I don't know if that's what you had.
I don't know.
With it,
I think I would and it was like the scenes that they chose to put the voice actors in felt super weird and inconsistent. But
yeah,
I don't even know if I would want that for Harry Potter. I feel like Jim Dale's enough for me.
I mean, I
except
agree.
For his,
absolutely,
except for
agree.
maybe his Hermione, I guess. Sorry,
Harry!
Jim. Sorry, grown man Jim Dale can't voice a good enough 15-year-old Hermione for you.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Dale, but definitely kudos and everything to Stephen Fry.
Yeah, absolutely. Which he'll be coming up here soon in our main segment for tonight. I think this is what everyone's been waiting for. We've talked about it to some extent, but we're giving you a little bit. We're not giving you the whole pie. We're giving you a little slice for you to taste, for you to comment.
Three slices. Actually.
3 slices,
which is really like half the pie in this case.
There's three,
actually. It's a very badly cut pie.
Yeah, it's awfully cut. But we are actually doing our own fan casting for Max's Harry Potter series. But Spencer, Cole, this is your baby. This is what so you guys, as Abby and I, we're just going to take a step back. We'll comment when you want us to.
Yep.
But take it away.
Fandom Done Right fans, this will be somewhat similar to the fan casting minute or a few minutes. That's what we're calling this segment, the segment. So Cole and I just thought, we haven't done any hard enough fan casting, right? Just gotta do it one more time. It's mostly because Cole and I's favorite pastime is texting each other fan casting.
Yes.
And so that's what this was born out of, and for lack of better topics to talk about for this episode. So quickly before we jump into it, Spencer always has caveats. We're only fan casting Sorcerer's Stone through Prisoner of Azkaban. We wanted to get the basics and all the professors in, but then we felt like we can't just leave you guys without the Marauders. So we worked our way through Prisoner of Azkaban because that was like Marauders plus 2 more characters. It really expands out after that, like Goblet of Fire is more characters, Order of the Phoenix is more characters, and then so on. And so this is going to be still like 60%. We're also not fan casting everybody because I'm sorry, but we don't need to fan cast Madame Sinistra today. People are not going to be throwing hands about that one.
I might.
We are not casting the children. We're not casting anybody 17 years. If the characters that are age 17 and younger, it's too hard. We don't know enough British actors, and we'd like relative unknowns. We've also tried to stick primarily to UK-based actors. What were you going to say?
It was also very hard for this part because, most of them were in the original Harry Potter series.
That was also a nightmare. We were like, man, this would be cool. He was in the original Harry Potter series for like 14 seconds. So we are reusing a little bit, but we're sticking primarily to UK-based actors with one massive exception and some less large exceptions. Some of these Cole and I are more confident in than others, and I'll be posting them on the Instagram over the next few weeks. We'll start with a spicy one, I guess. Cole and I had 2 people in Sorcerer's Stone. Cole and I had 2 people for Dumbledore, which we've discussed this. Do we age up Jude Law, or is an alternative suggestion Jared Harris? Is he Richard Harris's son?
Yes. I didn't know that. But yeah. That's why that
Anyway,
AI pic you sent me earlier fits so well.
I was messing around for the Instagram posts. I ultimately left the idea, but I really liked. This is what they imagined Jared Harris to look like as Dumbledore. This is really great for the audio version of this podcast. Anyway, I don't hate it. I think he would do. He actually would be an in-between between Jude Law and Richard Harris and Michael Gambon for that matter.
But my only question to that is, do you see us getting to Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, and for Jared Harris to be able to do what is going to be required to pull off those scenes?
I'd say so, because he's
62 years old.
He's not that old.
I don't know. Bodies break down quick.
He's 10 years older than Jude Law.
Which is why I would just age up Jude Law. Like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw up an alternative suggestion.
I do like the Jude Law, because I think it was in one of the episodes for Goblet of Fire that there was one point in Goblet of Fire that all I could see was an old Jude Law doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I love Jude Law's Dumbledore. I do.
Yeah. And again, this is just me. I'm just gonna say I can disqualify myself from the Dumbledore conversation specifically, because I've been very vocal about Jude Law continuing to be involved.
We put both of them down.
Right. But
we liked both ideas.
But with Jude Law still being involved and still being able to be in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, even with the reboot, because if he can't come back, I'm gonna lose my mind.
It makes Fantastic Beasts really irrelevant.
Yes, it really does, and I didn't want that. But I think that Jared Harris is a good choice, especially after seeing that photo. I could see that. Like, if that was the casting, if that was the casting, I'm not going to be upset about it.
Well, great. Well, if you wanted Jude Law, there you go. If you wanted someone else, we gave you a suggestion.
That's right.
And this one was actually, now we confidently came down on this one. We had McGonagall.
I like this one.
Minerva McGonagall.
I also
came down to Olivia Colman. There was a lot of people that got the axe in between getting to Olivia Colman. Like, we probably changed that slot 4 times. Yes. We're very confident though. Olivia Colman is,
especially after watching Secret Invasion, for sure.
Save the time. Don't watch the show. Just trust me and Cole on this one. If you don't know who Olivia Colman is, find something else she's done of her wonderful career.
Paddington or something. I don't know.
This one's hard.
The Crown.
It's
the Crown. It's the Crown. Yeah.
This is the Crown. Yeah. The biggest exception to the UK-based actors, and we did to go a little back and forth on this. Severus Snape.
Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler. I said Cole's SNL skit. I'll send it to you later. He literally was wearing an outfit in a long black wig and was just Severus Snape, and it was the funniest thing ever. Anyway, Adam Driver. We went with the fan favorite. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts on Adam Driver?
British accent.
He's gonna have to figure it out.
As long as
I don't know. I'm trying to imagine him in it, and I'm like, I don't know.
See, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I understand that this is like a fan favorite casting for Severus
I think
Snape.
looks work, but
I just don't see it personally. Like, I just don't see Adam.
He's the right age.
Driver.
He's the right hair. He's already played evil characters with long black hair. I think he'd have to change up a lot of what he's done to make this work.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm having trouble seeing.
I love that he can age up and down too. Like, I think he could do a young Snape scene and it'd be a lot more believable than the late great Alan Rickman. 62 years old playing a younger Snape. Like, we're looking to cast right ages this time. Cole and I kind of unspokenly did that. So Adam Driver's actually in that 35-year-old, 40 looks 35 region that we want.
Also, like, if we're gonna cite movies, I feel like citing Marriage Story, the one he did with Scarlett Johansson. Just the acting in that one was phenomenal. Not that the acting in Star Wars or anything else I've seen him in was bad.
No, but the Marriage Story is kind of like peak Adam Sandler. Sorry, Adam Driver. You guys got me.
Yeah, we're gonna do some potions.
Mr. Potter, you know what we get when we're at.
Anyway, Marriage Story. I just love the weird indie film, The Man Who Killed Don Quixote.
I haven't watched that yet.
It will change your life, Cole.
Yeah,
just like Dark Place.
But here's the thing: you give Marriage Story as an example.
British accent, saying he can master it.
That, to me, that I think that's the thing. I'm with Abby on that one. Like, it's hard for me to hear that.
Just to throw up the alternatives that we had, listeners.
Okay, go for it.
Cole wanted to bring up Benedict Cumberbatch.
I did. I don't.
You put it.
I've been sitting here for the last 10 minutes trying to Google who Benny Cumby is.
Yeah, me too.
I had to look it up too.
I was like, I can't find an answer.
I did the exact same thing because I was just like,
was.
man, so stupid.
Benadryl Cabbage Patch.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's so dumb.
I also suggested Tom Hiddleston, but it's so much like Loki that I'm like, please no. Anyway, he's later on this list, so we're gonna stick with Adam Driver.
Okay.
I just had a thought about Tom Hiddleston. I don't know if we can go through with that.
I don't know. All right, let's move on.
For Hagrid, the only suggestion we could come up with for a British person that might fit the bill is Nick Frost. Haven't seen much of his stuff. I think he'd be great.
All right,
but
you can't.
Hot Fuzz. That's the only
is in
one
Hot
I've
Fuzz.
seen in.
You can't, and he was in Shaun of the Dead. I think you can't replace Robbie Coltrane. To me,
no.
But he's worth a shot.
To think that at one point they wanted Robin Williams to be Hagrid, I don't know how I feel about that.
See, I would have loved that, but he's also dead.
Right. No, if he was alive, he'd be on this list.
For Molly Weasley, because she's in the first one, we're gonna have Arthur Weasley later. We had Catherine Parkinson. She's redhead. She's from the IT crowd. I think she'd be great. She'd also be good at playing, like, she's got, like, not to be mean to her, but she's got like the look of a mom.
Yeah. Did we talk about Catherine Tate for her?
Catherine Tate. How do you spell Tate?
Tate.
Oh.
Abby knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I know you're talking about from The Office.
I feel about Catherine Tate
from Doctor Who.
I know.
Well, yes. I feel like she'd be more of a Bellatrix Lestrange, but I wouldn't like that either.
No.
Only chaotic roles. I just think Catherine Parkinson would be more balanced. If you've seen, she's also in the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Society.
Potato Peel Pie
movie.
Society.
Thank you. Potato Peel Pie. It's a great movie. That is another
I think
we're only mentioning indie tearjerker movies today.
Right.
But
I think Catherine Tate is, I would only be able to think of her character in The Office. So
see, Cole.
So that's why I'm like, no, I'd rather go with someone that I'm not as much familiar with.
Yeah.
Right. Fair.
Watch the IT crowd. It's great.
I tried.
If you dyed her hair,
it's British humor to the nines.
Catherine Tate could maybe do a Petunia if
she would be a good Petunia.
Ooh, that's a winner. Yeah, like that a lot.
Moving forward, so
speaking of Petunia,
we're not there yet.
Not there.
We have James and Lily Potter. Now,
actually, let
me I don't know how I feel about this.
I love it. I love it.
We adjusted both of these because James and Lily died younger than the rest of the Marauders. So you have to do this weird thing where you have to actually cast younger. And so we have Kit Harington as James Potter, which I found pictures of him with glasses. It's great.
I think I'd have to see him with
it'd be
glasses and maybe not all the
You'd have to
facial
look him
hair.
up with glasses and no facial hair. And then Rose Leslie's been in a lot of stuff. I thought
And they're
she'd be
married.
good.
And they're married. Yes.
And that was
They
the
were
reason. Yeah,
Game
that
of
was the
Thrones
reason. I forgot about
together.
that. They're really married.
Yeah. I think it's a great one. I approve. I think this is good.
But Kit Harington was the flex, a little out there, but I like it kind of option.
Yeah.
Weird flex, but okay.
For Voldemort,
Love it. Say it out loud.
I went with Cillian Murphy.
Yep.
I think that felt
I think it
easiest
would be
for me.
fun.
It was super. Yeah, I agree with you that it's super easy. He's a good choice. Love it.
He's a really good choice. I didn't want to do the Benedict Cumberbatch. I don't think he wants to do that.
There was another one that I thought of, but I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. But it's like super weird.
Because Cillian could play like all of these different eras of Voldemort too.
Yeah.
Anyways, this one was cast today. Quirrell, Paul Bettany.
I could the stutter. Paul Bettany doing a stutter. I don't know how much you guys have seen outside of Jarvis for Paul Bettany, but I think Vision, same difference. I haven't.
What
seen
was
that.
it? Knight's Tale.
Yeah,
Knight's
that's the one I
Tale.
think of.
Solo.
I don't know.
Knight's Tale's so good.
Will Paul Bettany do this, Cole? He'll have to
Probably
show the
not.
back of his head instead of his butt.
That's what I was about to say. What if
You see Paul
Voldemort?
Bettany's butt in every single thing he's in.
They have to change.
You'll
This one won't be faithful to the books. They'll have to put Voldemort on his butt.
No. Cancel the reboot automatically.
It's that makes it a Maxim original though, David. You want a real Max original.
And he has to be
bisexual. Just trying to get us canceled in one of the first episodes of season 5. Anywho,
Exactly.
my alternate suggestion was Orlando Bloom. I just thought it'd be a different opportunity for him. I think he could still do it, but Paul Bettany is more sensible. Let's say it that way.
Any opportunity for Paul Bettany to be in this is great. So I'm with it.
For Vernon and Petunia,
I love this one.
For Vernon, Cole and I put Matt Berry up there.
I like that choice.
What We Do in the Shadows is what he's most known for these days. I know him for the IT Crowd, Dark Place.
I still haven't finished it. I'm sorry.
I've only seen like half of it, Cole. It really goes off the rails. It wasn't already off the rails. But Matt Berry is so funny. He's very good. I think if you throw a big thick mustache on him, he's pretty much there. For Petunia Dursley,
he'd
honestly,
be great. He already has a great mustache in What We Do in the Shadows.
Petunia, I just threw down Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I thought she should be somewhere in this whole thing, and I think what I like about the books is that Vernon and Petunia are almost comical and how weird and off kilter they are, and it should make you laugh a little bit with how crazy they are. And so I think Matt Berry and Phoebe Waller-Bridge is a recipe for disaster. It would just be entertaining.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I think Catherine Tate would also be another good choice for it as well. Kind of what we talked about, but I think
I can't find a sandy blonde-haired woman to play Petunia. I couldn't. I couldn't find one that I liked. So they're gonna have to. She's just gonna have brown hair again. Ollivander, I sneaked one in, Cole. We originally had Ian McKellen for Ollivander. I think Bill Nighy should get another shot at Harry Potter.
I think that's a good idea. I like it.
I just think he was barely in the original series, and that was just because he was friends with David Yates, and David Yates needed one more person cast. I'm pretty sure.
I like this.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I like that.
I think he's wonderful, and he would do it amazing. I don't have anybody for Grip Hook.
Brad Pitt.
Sure. Oh my! When I texted Cole as my joke, what I texted Cole as my joke is that anyone we remain uncast will just be Tom Holland
Oh,
because he knows
yes.
he knows the source material better than anyone else, including J.K.
Sure. Yeah, that makes
So-
sense.
No, I don't really have a grip. Tom Holland can't play. Oh, grip hook.
Right.
For me. Anyway, I just I had trouble replacing Warwick Davis in all of these in the roles that he plays.
Yeah,
I have
exactly.
a Flitwick option, but it's going to be someone that's not his actual size.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah.
Man, Cole, you were pulling with the ghost situation. Would you
This-
like to
so
start?
this is
you want
actually-
to start the beginning, and I'll come in with my.
My sister came up with some of these. We were just sitting at dinner. We were hanging out this weekend.
Happy birthday!
Yes, happy birthday to my sister.
Everywhere.
Close, you're close. But she's a big Doctor Who fan, but Peter Capaldi is Nearly Headless Nick.
Mhm.
Which, if y'all probably know, Peter Capaldi is one of my favorite doctors.
That's got to be one of my favorites. Casting.
And Spencer, you haven't even seen Doctor Who. I think you probably only know him from maybe Paddington if you've seen it, and then The Suicide Squad.
Yeah, here and there and other things. Yeah, he gets around.
He gets around. There's another show where he's just absolutely disgusting, but I can't remember what it's called. And then we have the Fat Friar, James Corden. But you know what? That one just
It might be the one.
fits.
It might be.
Correct.
That's just a fun cameo,
Mhm.
and that's all we. James Corden is only good in that small of a dose. So
Yeah.
And again,
I made jokes about Jimmy Fallon being the Bloody Baron. As a joke. Oh my god, covered in blood. It's so cool. Oh my god.
oh my gosh, guys! Whoa, I'm in a gyrosphere.
It's so cool. So covered in blood. Anyway, I don't
Um,
have anybody
and
for the Gray Lady.
I really liked
sis-
Kelly MacDonald in the original
Mhm.
series. Could we just have her again?
Why not?
But I also
My
just really
s-
like her as an actress. So
my sister suggested the lady who plays Clara in Doctor Who again, but I can't think of her name off the top of my head. I'm a
yeah,
bad
for
Doctor
some
Who
reason
fan
it
today.
just I understand it just slipped me for some reason.
Mhm.
And then
Done.
we have Peeves. Spencer, this one's all you.
Noel Fielding.
Yeah.
You have to have seen Great British Bake Off
Yep.
or the
Mhm.
IT Crowd or a number of other comedic things he's done. He's great. And so
Yeah.
then naturally, the only conclusion I could make for Bloody Baron is Paul Hollywood, not an actor, but would be really funny as the Bloody Baron.
I think
because
I think it's
Bloody
good.
Baron's the only one that has control over Peeves. So then
Mhm.
it's just funny.
Makes sense.
I'm not casting the fat lady.
I'm gonna
I
keep my
abstain.
mouth
Hey.
shut.
Dawn French. Just keep it how it was. I liked Dawn French.
Is she the first fat lady or the second?
She was the second one.
one? Okay, great.
She's the
Yeah, just
Vicar of
kinda like-
Dibley. If you guys haven't seen the Vicar of Dibley, you need to watch it. It's a
Hmm.
good British TV show.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Cole, your suggestion was for Filch. I don't know anything he's been in though.
I have to look it up. I don't remember.
Richard
either.
Brake.
Richard Brake. I don't remember.
Oh, I have seen things he's been in. He was the guy who killed Bruce Wayne's parents in Batman Begins. That's like the smallest thing. he's
Oh
done.
yeah, he's been in a lot
Mhm.
of stuff. You're right. Yeah.
He was in R.I.P.D. 2, which I didn't know was made.
Yes. That was like a new thing. Game of Thrones. He's one of the characters in Game of Thrones. He's been in Kingsman: The Secret Service. Great
That's right.
movie, underrated. He's been in Supernatural, Mandalorian, Thor,
If you
World
look
of
him
Dark
up,
Thor.
he looks like Filch.
He does look like Filch.
For Professor Binns, I had Stephen Fry.
Yay!
I think he'd be fun. He's a fun actor. He can play a really boring ghost.
Hmm.
And I obviously have heard him play Professor Binns in the audiobook version.
Right.
For Flitwick, I had Toby Jones, he played Dobby in the original series, but I think it'd be fun to have him in a real role. He's like 5'5", which Flitwick's actual height is not necessarily as miniature as Warwick Davis, because he's a human with goblin heritage. That's not an insult to Warwick Davis at all. It just means we have some flexibility with the height scenario. He just needs to be really, really short, which Toby Jones is very short. Imagine his role in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
We could also, even though he'll probably be unfortunately pass away between now and then, Jonathan Rhys Davies, since they already shrunk him down for Lord of the Rings.
He wouldn't be as good for me, but
no, he wouldn't.
Okay, Madam Hooch, I had nothing. Madam Pince, I just said unknown. Same for Ronan and Bane. For Firenze, I had Nicholas Hoult. I feel like we actually needed to cast somebody for Firenze. Just a handsome person that's a good actor. Oh, I put James McAvoy on at first, but I thought it said he'd never do it. And then I realized he's already played a British half-breed character in a fantasy series.
That he has.
Even though he just the one movie. So I was like, oh, well, I can't do James McAvoy again. And then somehow my brain just went, oh, X-Men First Class, Nicholas Hoult. And then I don't know about Madame Pomfrey. I got nothing.
Yeah.
And that's Sorcerer's Stone, pretty much.
Yeah.
Should we start with the spicy take of Chamber of Secrets?
Yes.
This is not order of appearance, but Cole and I made a suggestion for Gilderoy Lockhart that David does not like. And it was an internet fan favorite. They even made art of him. It's great.
It looks stupid.
Ewan McGregor.
It looks so dumb. So dumb. I can't even begin.
Cole and I can't even figure out where you differ on this, other than the fact that you like Star Wars.
It's the fact that Ewan McGregor deserves so much better than Lockhart. So much better.
Oh, Ewan McGregor is Dumbledore.
He's too young.
So is Jude Law. Age him up, friends.
No. I think Debbie's on to something with him as Dumbledore.
Well,
sorry, Spencer, I'm jumping ship.
Alicia, I talked to this with Alicia, and she said
does not help your case.
She said Ewan McGregor cannot be Lockhart. That's so stupid. He should just.
Alicia
be Sirius
disagrees
Black.
with me on more than you do.
Which is saying something.
He's too old for Sirius Black. That's just doing Gary Oldman again. He's just the modern day Gary Oldman in that case. Which he's too old for Lockhart.
I know that Kenneth Branagh's too old to continue doing Lockhart, but honestly,
pause.
Chaos!
You are not going to say that Ewan McGregor's too old for Sirius Black, but he's not too old for Lockhart. Let's just get that out of the way right now.
Because Lockhart doesn't matter.
No. But Ewan McGregor does. So we're going to give him a role that matters. I don't care what it is, but he is not going to be Lockhart. Here's my suggestion. With Lockhart. Guys, it's Homelander from the Amazon Prime video series, The Boy. Okay, it's Antony. It's just clear and obvious. He has the pretty smile. He's already used to playing the character that's charismatic, that only cares about the cameras. Like, are you serious? Like, it's Homelander. Bar none.
I have a hard time imagining you watching The Boys.
Listen, I don't watch it, but I see him in commercials and I see him in advertisement for Amazon Prime Video. And I'm just like, that's Lockhart. That's the Lockhart right there.
Cole, I got nothing. What do you think of that?
I can't argue that. I really can't.
Okay. Great.
Other than he's an a-hole. Gosh dang it.
He is Australian, but I'm not gonna give in on that factor. Hugh Jackman. I'm just kidding.
Hugh Jackman.
He's too old for Lockhart, probably.
Yeah, but
anyway,
yeah,
Ewan McGregor might have to be saved for a later episode because we really don't.
I think so too.
Cole
'Cause
really
I want
likes
him
who
involved.
we
I want
have
him
for
involved.
Sirius Black. For Dobby, we had Michael Sheen. That was Cole's suggestion from today.
Okay.
Don't have an alternate. Arthur Weasley, I thought Simon Pegg would be great, and he would be a great match for Catherine Parkinson. You'd have to
I
put
like
a little
Simon
red
Pegg.
hair. You'd have to make
Yeah,
his
I'm okay with it.
fading hairline a
That's
little
all right.
red and put glasses on, but he'd be perfect.
Yeah, he could pull it off. I'm with that.
Now, for Lucius Malfoy, we originally had John Barrowman of Arrow
No.
fame. I also was hesitant
She said no.
because I said,
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a good actor or not because the writing
Also,
was
he's
so
had
bad.
a lot of controversy in the last
This
decade.
is true. I forgot about that.
I
I'm
did
going to
too.
throw
Not
my
worth
sister
it.
under the bus.
Also,
for
I
this
don't
one.
think he'd be a good Lucius Malfoy.
That was
He's too
Cole's suggestion.
charismatic. That
Anyways.
was my sister's suggestion. I'm throwing her under the bus for this one.
Cole and I decided today to throw Tom Hiddleston into the number one spot here.
I like
Because we
this.
wanted him to be
I like
involved,
this.
but we didn't have a specific
But
thing.
Tom Hiddleston
And
with
this
blonde
is
hair.
this is back where it's so hard because I love
has
the
blonde hair.
original so much.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Yeah.
you
I
just
mean-
can't beat him. Like
No.
That should
But
Anyways.
we have
yeah.
accepted that, Abby.
I
Yeah,
don't
There is
know.
no
That's-
beating certain
that was
people.
like one of the unofficial caveats
What?
for this entire
What's-
fan
That was
casting. It's like
weird.
they're never going to beat the
What-
original.
But the series. Moving on.
She broke her own computer, guys.
She broke it.
lost her.
Yeah, we lost her for a second. 'Cause-
No, we still lost her. Okay. I had another person. Tom Hiddleston was still the only one on my mind, though.
okay.
Would Ewan McGregor be crazy?
Mm,
It'd be kind
I
of
would-
scary.
Am
would
I
love-
back?
yes. you are back.
Yes.
Yes, you are.
I
back.
don't think Ewan McGregor would be good for this role.
I don't either, but I don't have anybody else. We've just named 4 people.
Listen. I'm with Tom Hiddleston. I'm with it.
I'm okay with that.
I'm with it enough.
I
don't
know-
think there's
here's the
anything he
thing.
can't do.
Here's what a lot of people are saying. Like I've heard people talk about Tom Felton being Lucius Malfoy in this series, but it's
Ooh.
too similar. It's like
It's way too soon.
way too soon.
similar.
Way too
You'd
soon,
watch
so-
it and you'd be like, it'd get
It'd throw
confusing.
you
Oh, yeah.
off. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
Hugh Jackman. But I don't know with the blonde
He
wig.
distract- Tom Holland.
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. Yeah.
Let's go, Draco. He would be a good Dobby, for crying out
Mhm.
loud. I don't have anybody for Mr. Morgan. Don't care. Professor Sprout needs to be cast. I couldn't come up with anybody.
We tried. He tried to convince me for Karen
No.
Gillian.
It was because of Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah.
It muddled my brain on how old
Mm.
Professor Sprout actually is. She was born
Yeah.
in 1918, so that's not exactly going to work. Aragog, we could slide back in Ian McKellen. He's a
Yeah.
great voice actor.
Hmm.
See
I'm down
flushed
for
away
that.
for support. I think the Grangers are also going to be unknowns to us, not
Yeah.
necessarily they're unknowns completely. Because I want to jump into Prisoner of Azkaban before we wrap.
Yeah, let's go
Yeah.
ahead. Let's tackle this quickly.
Let's
It's got a
roll.
couple of we got 2 big marauders to cast. 3
Mhm.
3 actually. Professor Lupin is one of the earliest ones Nicole
I
and
don't
I
know
came
how I
up
feel
with.
about this.
I do have thoughts.
Andrew Garfield.
Though, yeah.
Andrew Garfield.
So my first thought of that was just,
He's half British, by the way.
well, I mean,
It's
Yeah.
whatever.
Andrew Garfield can
matter.
do whatever he wants as an actor. He's fantastic, like bar none. My
Well,
my,
yes.
my thing is just initially, I was just like, he's too handsome. to
I
be
would have done
Lupin.
him as James Potter, friends.
I mean, maybe. I mean, yeah.
He's a
I mean,
little
that could be-
older
Yeah. I
than Kit
think
Harington.
that I think that, but when I thought about it, when I really, really thought about it, I was just like, if there's anybody that I trust to pull off the traumatic past of Remus Lupin, it would be Andrew Garfield. Like I think he would do a phenomenal job, and I think that they can do enough to his appearance to make him be what he needs to be for this role. When you're
He's not
talking
always
about
handsome. Yeah.
yeah, especially, I mean, I think Tick Tick Boom is a great example of not him not looking good, but him being able to pull
He's
off some
versatile.
incredibly emotional scenes and make you like we're talking. Like I honestly think Andrew Garfield, when it's all said and done, has a shot to be one of the greatest actors of all time. Just with like what Spencer said, his versatility, his ability to do things. I think he can pull this role off and do it well.
Yeah. People cast him as like young Marauders way back when, but I'm like,
Yeah,
now he's
for sure.
40. He's
Mhm.
literally the age
He can
to
do
slide
it.
him back in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just while we're on the topic, Sirius Black, Ben Barnes is another popular
Love it.
internet
I love it.
Ben
suggestion.
Barnes.
Cole
I'm
love it.
fine with that. I love
I'm
Ben
also-
Barnes.
loves it.
I'm good with that. Yeah, I'm 100% sold on that.
He's got the hair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does. He's got the look.
hair.
He's got the look.
He's
He's
got
got
the
everything.
look.
Yeah.
Now, Cornelius Fudge, we had some difficulty with,
Mhm.
but we went with Tom Hollander.
I might have another one, but I also might save him.
Yeah, we talked about Ian McNeice a little bit, but he's a little up there in age. I don't know if he lasts the whole series.
Yeah, I like Tom Hollander. I think that's a great choice.
See Pirates of the Caribbean, World's End for reference there.
Peter
Peter Pettigrew.
Rhapsody.
Yep.
What is yesterday?
About Time.
About Time. Yes, I
Mhm.
get those two mixed up.
And while we're on the About Time category, John McGuire is my choice for Peter Pettigrew. He's kind of an unknown, but he had a small role in About Time where he was great. He was Rory, just kind of the outcast character in that movie. So I'm like, well, that's Peter Pettigrew. Professor Trelawney, I had Hannah Waddingham. That name might not be super familiar to you, but she's
Ted Lasso,
the main person in Ted Lasso. I'm losing my mind here. Rebecca. She could do anything. She was also in the Willow series. She was great in that for that one episode. So she would do it, and she would do it really well. I don't have an Aunt Marge. Stan Shunpike, I cast Brennock O'Connor. He's in Alex Rider. He's great. He's great at playing like a young adult with pimples. That would be right up his alley.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sir Cadogan, I had David Coogan for comicality alone. And then Madame Rosmerta,
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland.
Yeah.
I'm the one who betrayed everybody in Half-Blood Prince.
Did she do that?
Imperious Curse. And the Imperious Curse?
I didn't realize that was, yeah.
But
I'm the one Ron has a crush on.
That was
Let's not get into that.
That was some fun fan casting for sure.
We made it over time, but that's how fan casting usually goes.
Yeah. So tell us your thoughts, listeners, of what we got right, what we got wrong, suggestions for some that we didn't come up with that you may have some great options for. But that's going to do it for our time here on the show Requirements. So what is to come? What's next on the podcast? Well, Spencer, Cole, and we finish up the Goblet of Fire read-through episodes, which we recorded previously.
Cole and David finish it.
Well, we finished it. Yeah. But then when we come back after that, we will return into Order of the Phoenix with the full team. And so we're going to get to recording it, all that kind of stuff. That's what this season's going to be about, just us covering books. And then you'll look forward to us in the spring, just covering fun topics, just cool things, maybe more character studies, more writing rooms, things of that nature. We'll see whenever we get there. But
we'll have an old episode where Spencer and I's babies choose their houses.
Oh, yes.
That would be so much fun.
That would be fantastic. Yes.
Do I get to bring Cranjus and put him in a house too?
Yeah, we'll do the same. I'll do the same thing with Molly also. I'll do the same thing with Molly, my dog, as well. But guys, here's the thing. You can only see that if you're on YouTube. So go ahead and go to Harry Potter Fanatics on our YouTube channel, subscribe to the page, watch our videos on there. But if you are a podcast listener, make sure to hit that subscribe button and also leave us a good review so that way we can grow as a podcast. And if you have
Tell your
thoughts
friends.
about anything in this episode, make sure to comment on it and share it with your friends, as Spencer has said.
You can also email us at showofrequirement@gmail.com. I check it sometimes.
Yeah. And just find ways to connect with us and tell us what your thoughts are. And also, we hope that you'll join us as we continue to read through the Harry Potter series that we all love. But until next time, for Abby, Spencer, Cole, this is David with the Show of Requirement, a Harry Potter podcast. And until next time, mischief managed.